Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Alchemy Fairy Show. I'm Danielle Green, the Alchemy Fairy, your guide in this transformation space where we are turning personality into power, challenges into clarity, and dreams into your everyday reality. Each week, we're journeying together, uncovering gifts that are already inside of you, aligning your life with purpose, because you're powerful, boo, and stepping into the magic of your truest self. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's begin the alchemy. This week is episode 5, The Path of Purpose, aligning with your soul's journey. Looking at where you are on your journey, how does that look? Is that in alignment with where you're meant to be, where you're supposed to be? And there's many of us that believe there are no coincidences, that everything is working out for you in your favor, in your highest good, like things are aligning on your path. But just being conscious about, are we further down on the path? Are we moving ahead on the path? Are we making progress in ways that are authentic and that resonate deeply with our soul? And looking at that, what does that feel like? What does that look like? For example, when you go into work, do you get the ick? Do we have the work ick? That weird feeling inside that's like, I'm not really supposed to be here. Sometimes that is a dissonance, like a break in resonance with where we are and where we're meant to be. So sometimes when we show up to places, events, parties, jobs, anything in general, whenever you show up and you kind of feel like, oh, I'm not really meant to be here. This feels weird to me. Maybe that's social anxiety. Maybe that's just an example of where you're not supposed to be anymore. Maybe you've outgrown that space. And that's okay, my friend. That is okay. That is a good awareness to have. Maybe you show up and it's the opposite. You love being there. You're surrounded by energy and people and things that are feeding positive energy to you or healing energy to you. It doesn't always have to be necessarily like positive strictly. It could be healing energy. It could be encouraging energy. It could be supportive, uplifting energy. Maybe the vibe is different, but it's still feeding your soul. It's still helping you grow. It's still helping you embrace the version of you that you're trying to become. Maybe it's still serving you in some way. So kind of think of it as, is this place and energy serving me or is it not serving me? Am I going to come here or contribute and then be better for it? Or am I going to come here and try and contribute and maybe it doesn't work out? Maybe it's not really the area that's meant for you anymore. Because a lot of times as we're growing and we're on our path, we outgrow places, people, things, actions, behaviors, pretty much everything. And this year is the Chinese year of the snake. So there's a lot of shedding off of what no longer serves us. There's a lot of paying attention and being in tune with, well, I really used to fit in this place or purpose, but it doesn't really feel like the same me is aligning with that energy anymore. And this is normal. This is so normal. Maybe it's a sign that you could dig deeper and find more meaning in that place or thing. But then if you're met with energy that's kind of conflicting with that or combative towards that or maybe volatile, depending on the situation, then that could be a sign that, okay, it's just not in alignment with you anymore. It used to be. And it's okay to lovingly release things. It's okay to say, you know what, once upon a time, this was really great for me and I loved it and I enjoyed it. Maybe it's just a hobby. Maybe it's not a job and it's just a hobby. And you say, I really used to love this. But the me of today doesn't really feel alignment with that. So maybe there's other hobbies that I should try out and explore. It could be anything. This is more so inner dialogue and kind of listening to that narrative of what feels right and checking in. Does this feel right for me today? Maybe it used to, or maybe it never did, and you just kind of went along with it. Maybe we have some people pleaser tendencies. I find that there's layers of people pleaser tendencies that maybe we got rid of most of them, but some of them are still lingering in different areas, right? Maybe you're a people pleaser to your closest friends, but not to anybody else. But then sometimes that's not serving you either. So just taking a moment to pause. This is the power of the pause. Looking at how do I feel, checking in. So when we're talking about the path of purpose and aligning, you want to do those check-ins. That's where the magic is. That's when you can actually check in with your soul, check in with your inner child and say, hey, how do I feel about this? Does this feel right? Does this sit with me? Right? And looking at, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And that's okay. But taking note of it. It's the power of it's empowering yourself by pausing, so that when you move, when you take action, you are taking action from a foundation of peace. You are taking action from a place of calm, not anxiety, not chaos, not pressure. You're not forcing something to control and move forward. Sometimes that energy is needed, but sometimes when we're trying to find alignment with our soul's journey, that kind of push energy can be kind of counterproductive. So we want to take a minute to pause and reflect multiple times a day. And if you feel, I would say the more you feel out of touch with yourself, with your inner person, your inner soul, pause more. If you feel aligned, like it's just flowing and you are a well-oiled machine with your ancestors and you are feeling the vibe and you are feeling the movement of energy that's like with you, dropping thoughts in. Sometimes it happens as thoughts that we get and it's like, okay, go do this now, or why don't we try this, or reach out to this person. Sometimes that happens to me. Hey, reach out to this friend you haven't spoken to in a while. And then I'll reach out to them. And then all of a sudden, they're like, oh my gosh, Danielle, I was thinking of you. And I was praying for you. And I was sending you all the good energy. And it was just this hugely encouraging, beautiful moment that I got to share with my friend that we haven't talked in a while. But she was thinking of me. And it was just a beautiful moment. So sometimes it's not hard at all. Sometimes all we have to do is listening. And sometimes the hardest part is not being resistant to that listening. Because that's been a struggle for me, is having friction, like, no, I don't want to do that. Just being stubborn, plain stubborn. And not doing what the thought dropped in, or, oh, I don't have time to do that. Like, what if I had said, I don't have time to check in with my friend. I don't have time to pause and go reflect and be in that space. Then I wouldn't have gotten that beautiful message of encouragement. So when we get those feelings, those indications of, go try this, or go do this, or go action this, it's important to pause and say, you know what, I'm going to listen. And kind of surrender to that listening. Say, you're right, I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to go do it. Why not? Because those things are trying to help us. And depending on what you believe, that could be your spirit, your ancestors, that could be your spirit guides, that could be different positive influences, just trying to help bring you more beautiful moments, help remind you why you're alive, to do more living while you're alive. And some of that comes through exploring what our gifts are. So when we're looking at your path of purpose, we want to take inventory of what are our specific gifts. Maybe you're humble, maybe no gift calls to you, maybe you lack awareness. I feel like for me, for many years, I lacked a lot of awareness. So I would always ask others, hey, what do you feel like my gifts are? And my closest people or even colleagues, and they would provide me with good feedback about, oh, you're really talented in this, and this. And maybe I did not always see it the way they saw it, but that was how they received me. That was how they received my energy and my skill set, right? Different skill sets. So sometimes that can be a good place. There are different evaluations, like 360 evaluations, where you ask people all around you for how they are kind of bearing witness to who you are, your effort, your energy, your contributions, depending on the environment, work, friends, family, many things. You can ask them for, hey, what do you think my gifts are? And then write them down. So if you know, write them down. If you don't know, maybe ask the people who you're around the most, who have the most widest exposure to who you are as a person, and take note of that. Sometimes grain of salt, depending on who you have surrounding you. But if they're people that you know and trust, write it down so you can be aware of that. And so looking at those, you basically want to make 3 lists, okay? You want to write down, what are your gifts? Write down, what are you passionate about? What do you love? What do you yes, that energizes you, that refills your cup, that you're I need more of this in my life, your passions. make a list of passions. And then your third one is make a list of how you might be able to integrate those things, to marry them. Because when we can combine our gifts with our passions, whew, watch out. It's such a beautiful moment. It's such a refilling moment. You'll notice that the more you can align with your gifts and passions, you will feel energized by that activity. Some people ask me, how do I find the energy to do so many different things? Like the podcast. I just finished a book that's going to be coming out soon that I'll tell you guys more about. Working in general, being a mom, being a girlfriend, being all these things. How do you find the energy? But the truth is, when you chase your joy, when you combine your passion with your gifts, they will refill you. They will replenish you. Because there's the metaphor of there's water pouring into a cup, right? Pretend we have a cup right here. There's water pouring into it. So we are really only supposed to give when the cup overflows. You give the overflow. You don't ever pour from your core of your cup. But some of us, I think, are conditioned, trained, socially, culturally, to just pour until the whole cup is empty. Bone dry cup. That's dangerous. Because when we're that depleted, we are not able to take care of ourselves. We're not able to take care of others, not well. We put everybody around us kind of in danger of that. So this is just a reminder that when you're seeking out your gifts and passions, they help pour into that cup as well. So they help energize and recharge you. They can still take creative energy. So if you are in a creative space, they might take some of that energy, yes. Say they take like 2 spoons of energy, but they give you back 6 spoons of energy, if you're familiar with the spoon theory, right? So if you get back, you have 4 extra bonus spoons because you chased your joy and you channeled this creative passion, then you're better off. This is how you can live a life worth living, that makes you excited to wake up every morning, that makes you want to jump out of bed, where you're feeling in alignment with your true purpose, with your gifts. Because they say, I forget who it was that said it, but somebody said the goal or the purpose of life is to find your gift, and then the rest of your life is spent giving it away. And I believe that we have more than one gift. I believe sometimes our gifts can change. I believe sometimes we don't know all of our gifts until we're put in new situations where those gifts surface, or they can be developed. I think some gifts, we might have them as like a seedling, but we need sunlight and water to help them sprout and grow. And I think that's very possible. So sometimes we're not in an environment where the seeds will grow because it's not in a place where the gifts can flourish. Sometimes we have to change our environment and what's around us, what's pouring into our cup, to make sure that when the overflow happens, that it can help replenish those seeds and what they need so they can sprout and grow. So looking at, are you in the right space? And if you're not, maybe explore other spaces, maybe full-time, maybe part-time, maybe just when you feel like it. Try a new meetup group, try different groups on Facebook, there's so many different ways to connect and enter new spaces where you can learn things and meet new people and have new ideas shared. And when you find your gifts, when you have those 3 lists that you make, reflect on them, sit with them, ask yourself, which one feels like something I should work on now? Just sit with that, meditate on it, pray on it, and follow that. Okay, so say you're great with plants, or say you hate plants, but you like the feeling of plants. Then maybe you can find a way to integrate that. Maybe you could find a way to be around people who love plants, but not necessarily have to be responsible for watering them. Whatever your passion is, maybe it's music. For example, I was telling my son a story. I was a musician for 6 years. Love music, okay? And I played clarinet. Okay, little story time. So I played clarinet, and I was telling my son the 6 years that I played that sometimes there's at least 2 times, that maybe 3 times I remember vividly, of everyone in that moment doing well, playing well, being so aligned and in sync that it was like reaching up to the heavens and taking a piece and bringing it down to earth. Just for a moment. just for this beautiful expression of glorious energy where you just felt immersed. Like this must be what heaven feels like because it was so beautiful. And sometimes chasing our joy can feel that way. And this is why I encourage him, even though he's almost a preteen, to just follow his own joy. And I encourage you, beautiful souls, to follow your joy. What does bringing a piece of heaven to earth feel like for you? What does that feel like on your journey? And maybe you're there, maybe you do it already. Maybe it's your time to share that with others so that other people can feel what that feels like. Maybe they can be inspired by you if you shared your story, because we all have stories to share. Maybe you need to be inspired. Maybe you're someone who's chasing people who have found their spark and their joy, and you could take a little bit to kind of take that inspiration. So this is just a reminder and encouragement, if you haven't found it yet, that there's still plenty of time. And if you have found it, to just nurture it. Don't let the everyday busyness take away your opportunities to feed that joy and to chase it when you can. Maybe you need to pencil it in and schedule it, and it can only be 5 times a week or 3 times a week. But 3 times a week is still higher than 0, okay? It's just a reminder that we have to use the intuition, give ourselves grace, give yourself love in this process as you're finding your gifts, as you're exploring them and saying, what are you really great at? Maybe it isn't music. Maybe you're a great talker, or maybe you're someone who sees the potential in others as they're cultivating it, and you're a hub of inspiration for them. Maybe you're a network hub and you're really great at putting all the right people in the room together, and that's a skill. So skills don't have to be necessarily these classical concepts of, oh, I'm really strong or brave, or, you have the literary commendable skills. But there are other gifts, like the gift of listening. You know how many people don't even listen? You know how many people struggle to listen because maybe their brains work differently and they can't sit? And there are so many ways to be of service and help others to where your gift can help bring joy to them and make life shine a little brighter in the day. So I just want to encourage you to think outside of the box and give yourself grace with this. And I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, I don't have a gift, or I can't do this, or this isn't for me, because I would ask you, what's the worst that could happen if you found out what your gift is? So I would kind of challenge you there. So take time, think about it, because we all have them. We all have gifts. We all have ways to help support one another, ways to grow. And maybe your gift isn't meant to be shared. Maybe that quote's wrong. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Maybe that quote's wrong. And so say your gift is actually to fortify you on your journey. So say the gift is something that you chase just for yourself as your own fertilizer of dreams. So that's okay too. If your gift is just meant to be purely enjoyed by you and maybe one other person, that's okay. If that's going to refill your cup, it doesn't have to be something you can make money with or give away to a billion other people. It could be something that just makes you shine a little brighter so that everyone around you can feel your joy. Intrinsically, indirectly, they can absorb your joy from just you filling your own cup. Because when we're around others who are taking care of themselves, who are centered and anchored in their purpose, when we're around others who are going after what serves them, you can feel that energy. That's a tangible, authentic energy. It's a strong vibrational frequency that it's very, It's very magnetic. So some of us, when we're going after other things, don't mind my puppy. When we're going after other things, we wonder, oh, nobody listens to me or no one takes me seriously. But when we can increase our magnetism and we can have others feel all the good that we're working towards, that can be powerful too. So there are many ways to bring in your gifts to align with your purpose. So make the 3 lists, sit with them, see how they feel for you, see what resonates and what you learn about yourself on this path, and allow yourself to do this process every couple years, because maybe you'll learn new things, maybe you'll do new things, and then that will unearth new truths about yourself. Maybe version 72 you has a whole different way of living life, that you've learned a billion things from between now and then, and you can apply it. That's okay. This is all a part of the becoming process. We become, so we're a new version, and then we do it again and again. And it's a cyclical rebirth of who we are, our potential being expressed in new ways, being channeled in new ways, and crafted in new ways. And it's just a beautiful discovery process. So hopefully that resonates with you. If it does, please let me know. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends. I want to say thank you for wandering through the magic with me today on the Alchemy Fairy Show. If something stirred your soul or sparked a new thought, please share it with someone who needs a little bit of light. You are more powerful than you know, and your magic is real, so never forget that. Until next time, stay aligned, stay enchanted, and keep living your alchemy. Bye, friends.